There are sermons that are not merely words, but profound awakenings from the depths of the soul. Fulton Sheen, with his sharp intellect and heartfelt passion, delivers a timeless message, a call inviting us to reflect on ourselves, confront the anxieties and disorders of life, and seek what truly matters. In a chaotic modern world, where people are swept away by the pursuit of materialism and fleeting pleasures, Sheen's sermon shines as a guiding light back to core values. He speaks not only of neurosis or misguided philosophies, but also offers a solution. A purpose-driven life, illuminated by love and responsibility, is the key to overcoming all unrest. Let us listen to Fulton Sheen's powerful and inspiring call, a reminder that true happiness does not lie in intense sensations or outward perfection, but in living for something greater than ourselves. This sermon will not only prompt you to ponder the essence of life, but also ignite in you a longing to rediscover peace and genuine meaning. This is more than a sermon, it is a spiritual journey guiding you back to the heart.
Fulton Sheen begins by leading us back to a time when neuroses were not merely issues of material conditions or external circumstances, but the result of a wounded heart, a soul torn apart by sin. To illustrate this, he recounts the classic biblical story of the prodigal son, a narrative that is not just a moral lesson but also a profound reflection on the human interior. The son in the story, driven by ambition to claim his inheritance and seek a life of freedom, leaves his father's house. This departure is not merely geographical, it symbolizes the breaking of the most fundamental relationships, his connection with love, family, and even himself. Immersed in a foreign world, his human dignity is degraded to the point of tending pigs, a poignant image representing profound loss of self-worth. Yet, it is in the depths of despair, amidst hunger and humiliation, that he comes to himself, a pivotal moment that Sheen emphasizes as a turning point in the human soul. He came to his senses, as the biblical phrase powerfully states, underscores that restoration cannot come from the outside but must originate within. It is then that the son decides to return to his father's house, not with the pride he initially carried but with deep humility and sincere repentance. Fulton Sheen analyzes that, in this era, guilt should not be viewed as the negative burden we often perceive it to be. Instead, it is a healing tool, a reminder that one has wounded a sacred love, the love between themselves and God, the love of family, and the love of self. Sin, he explains, is not merely a wrongful act but a severing of ties with something higher. The image of the cross, according to Sheen, is the ultimate symbol of wounded love. Yet, from this very wound, love can be restored, just as the father in the story opens his arms to embrace the returning son. Sheen also highlights that, in classical society, people were unafraid to confront their sins. They recognized their mistakes, accepted the consequences, and used the sense of guilt as a driving force to repair and renew their lives. This, he argues, is why the neuroses of that time, while prevalent, were not as destructive as the modern disorders we face today. They were not merely psychological issues but opportunities to rediscover love and the meaning of life. Through this interpretation, Fulton Sheen not only sheds light on the profound meaning of classical neuroses but also skillfully guides listeners to a crucial question: have we today lost the ability to face our sins and re-establish our sacred relationships? After vividly portraying the nature of classical neuroses, Fulton Sheen delves into the significant shift in the essence of modern neuroses. According to him, this change is not merely about symptoms but reflects a profound transformation in how humans perceive their value and the world around them. If classical neuroses stemmed from guilt and broken relationships with love, modern neuroses revolve around the obsessions with wealth and health. The material obsession. Sheen begins by highlighting how material anxiety has infiltrated every aspect of life. Today, people are no longer deeply concerned about sin or morality. Instead, They are gripped by fear of losing their possessions or a decline in their personal health. He emphasizes that modern society has constructed a new religion, where money and physical perfection have become the deities people worship. The obsession with wealth. Sheen describes modern culture as a society obsessed with riches, where individuals are constantly worried about keeping up with the Joneses. He humorously states, the history of America could be written through its depressions, recessions, and panics. A depression is when you tighten your belt, a recession is when you have no belt left, and a panic is when you lose your pants. This witty yet sharp observation not only sheds light on societal instability but also exposes how we have allowed money to dominate our spiritual lives. Financial worries, such as losing a job, reduced income, or inability to maintain social status, have become a primary source of neuroses for modern individuals. However, Sheen does not criticize the pursuit of wealth itself but warns that placing one's self-worth in possessions leads to emptiness and insecurity. The worship of health and appearance. In addition to wealth, Sheen also highlights the growing obsession with health and appearance in modern society. He cleverly critiques advertisements, where even the smallest human insecurities, such as unkempt hair or bad breath, are exaggerated into crises. Personal care products are depicted as miracle cures capable of mending all broken relationships. Sheen paints a humorous picture. A young man unable to attract a girlfriend due to messy hair suddenly finds himself surrounded by women after using a miraculous shampoo. Or a woman feeling her marriage is failing because of rough hands finds her love magically restored after using a particular dishwashing liquid. These satirical anecdotes not only make the audience laugh but also expose the absurdity in how modern society defines happiness and human value. Sheen warns that the obsession with appearance and health is not a sign of self-care but a socially conditioned neurosis, where individuals are driven by fear of being left behind. The fundamental difference between classical and modern neuroses. Sheen concludes that the most significant difference between classical and modern neuroses lies in the source of fear. While classical neuroses stemmed from guilt, a feeling connected to the loss of love, modern neuroses arise from fear of material loss. He points out that this fear often lacks a real solution because it is perpetuated by a social system that encourages competition and dissatisfaction. This shift, according to Sheen, has led to a society where people have lost their ability to connect with the sacred and the deeper meanings of life. Instead of seeking harmony with God, family, and self, they are caught in a whirlwind of material insecurity in personal image concerns. A call to rediscover eternal values. This part of Sheen's analysis not only highlights the differences between types of neuroses but also raises a critical question: are we trading eternal values for fleeting pursuits? Through detailed analysis and vivid illustrations, Fulton Sheen not only diagnoses the issue but also inspires in his listeners a desire to rediscover authentic values. Fulton Sheen transitions his sermon from analyzing the symptoms of modern neuroses to a deeper subject, the flawed philosophy of life subtly governing today's society. He identifies this philosophy as the root cause of the spiritual and moral instability of modern humanity. Sheen asserts that this philosophy is built upon two main principles. Every experience is valid if it brings pleasure. The intensity of pleasure determines the value of the experience. He critiques this worldview, stating that it strips individuals of any moral standards or higher goals to evaluate their actions. Instead, everything is judged solely by the level of personal satisfaction, without regard for long-term consequences. The first principle, pleasure, is the measure of all experiences. Sheen analyzes how this philosophy encourages people to pursue sheer pleasure, regardless of its rationality or morality. He provides a series of satirical yet incisive examples, from teenagers breaking school windows simply for fun, to thrill-seekers engaging in reckless behavior without any meaningful purpose. He emphasizes that this way of life undermines the fundamental principle of judgment, the need for an external standard to assess the value of an experience. Rather than considering consequences or purpose, modern individuals base their decisions purely on personal feelings. According to Sheen, this is a clear symptom of a society in decline. Sheen draws a parallel between this phenomenon and the degradation of modern art. He remarks, many modern paintings have no clear subject. You can't tell if it's a drunk man climbing stairs or the stairs climbing the drunk man. He also recalls a painting hung upside down in the White House, discovered only because of the artist's signature. These examples underscore that when society abandons standards, everything becomes chaotic and directionless. The second principle, the intensity of pleasure, determines the value of the experience. According to Sheen, the second principle of this flawed philosophy is even more dangerous. It suggests that the value of an experience is not only based on the pleasure it provides but also on the intensity of that pleasure. He likens this to a never-ending race where individuals constantly seek stronger, more profound sensations, regardless of the consequences. Sheen provides shocking examples to illustrate this point. He recounts a mother in America who killed her child with broken glass to feel a stronger emotion. He also cites Madame Koch, a Nazi criminal, who crafted lampshades from the skin of Jewish victims. While these actions might have produced intense emotional experiences, they are patently irrational and morally abhorrent. Sheen challenges his listeners, if we judge everything by personal feelings, how can we condemn atrocities like those of Hitler? A deep critique, the decay of a standardless society. Sheen concludes that both principles reflect a severe moral and intellectual decline in modern society. He explains that sound judgment requires three elements. The subject, the individual experiencing something. The object, an external goal or standard. The relationship between the two. When society eliminates the object, the external standard, judgment becomes entirely subjective. This leads to chaos, where "I feel it's right" becomes sufficient justification for any action, no matter how irrational or evil. Sheen warns that a society that glorifies the self, I, is destined to self-destruct. He provides a memorable analogy from dining. When someone orders eggs in a restaurant and receives rotten ones, they may complain that the eggs don't meet the standard. But if every experience is judged solely by subjective feelings, why can't the chef retort, if you don't like it, give it to someone with better taste? This example underscores the necessity of objective standards to maintain balance and fairness in society. The impact on youth, a lost generation. Sheen highlights the philosophy's devastating impact on young people, who are especially prone to impulsive behaviors and short-term pleasures. He shares alarming statistics. 25% of psychiatric patients in the U.S. are teenagers, many of whom are affected by the philosophy of all pleasure is right. The lack of purpose and moral standards has left many young people confused and directionless. A call to rediscover purpose and standards. Sheen concludes this section with a powerful call to action. Humanity must return to solid values, where moral standards and higher purposes shape life. He emphasizes that true happiness is not found in the intensity of feelings but in the connection between experiences and greater goals. Through this analysis, Sheen not only critiques the flawed philosophy of modern life but also offers a clear solution. We must seek a purpose greater than ourselves to achieve balance and peace in life. Fulton Sheen recounts a pivotal moment in Victor Frankl's life during the early days of the Nazi occupation. As a young, promising psychologist, Frankl faced a life-altering decision. He had the opportunity to leave Austria and emigrate to the United States, where he could continue his career and escape Nazi oppression. However, he also knew that if he left, his aging parents, unable to flee, would be left behind to endure the brutalities of the regime. Frankl sought answers by praying at St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. Yet, after an hour of prayer, he had no clear sign. Returning home, he found a small piece of stone on the table. His father explained that he had picked it up from the ashes of a synagogue burned down by the Nazis. On the stone were inscribed the opening words of the fourth commandment, "Honor your father and mother." For Frankl, this was God's answer. The commandment reminded him that his duty and love for his parents were the highest priorities at that moment. Shortly after, he decided to stay by his parents' side, fully aware of the suffering this choice might entail. Survival through purpose. Sheen recounts that when Frankl was eventually sent to a concentration camp, he observed many fellow prisoners succumbing quickly to despair. Yet, he noticed a vital truth: those who had a purpose, whether it was caring for their families, completing an unfinished task, or maintaining religious faith, showed a remarkable ability to endure even the harshest conditions. Frankl became a living testament to this principle. During his darkest days in the camp, he held on to the belief that his life still had meaning. This conviction sustained him, enabling him to survive and later develop logotherapy, a psychological framework that emphasizes finding purpose in life, even amid extreme adversity. Logotherapy, healing through purpose. Sheen highlights that Frankl's philosophy of logotherapy provides a profound response to modern neuroses. Instead of seeking fleeting pleasures or escaping suffering, logotherapy encourages individuals to ask, "What is the meaning of my life? What am I living for?" This philosophy asserts that happiness does not come from eliminating all hardships but from discovering value in what we do, love, and believe. Those who live with purpose not only show greater resilience in the face of challenges but also achieve a balance and peace that temporary pleasures can never provide. Purpose and reconnection with love. Fulton Sheen ties Frankl's story to a broader message: true purpose in life is an expression of love. Just as Frankl chose to remain with his parents out of love, meaningful purpose often involves dedicating oneself to something greater than personal desires, family, community, or God. Sheen emphasizes that this truth applies not only in extreme circumstances like the concentration camps but also in our daily lives. When people place love at the center of their actions, they find meaning and purpose even in the smallest tasks. Conclusion: purpose and meaning as the solution to modern neuroses. This part of Sheen's sermon is more than a recounting of Victor Frankl's story, it is a powerful call to action for his audience. In a world filled with uncertainty and chaos, Sheen asserts that seeking purpose is not just a remedy for modern neuroses but also the path to genuine happiness. He closes with an inspiring message. Live for something greater than yourself. Only then will you truly live. This call resonates far beyond the church walls, reaching into the deepest corners of the human soul. It reminds listeners of the transformative power of love, meaning, and a higher purpose in life. After presenting the inspiring example of Victor Frankl and the philosophy of logotherapy, Fulton Sheen concludes his sermon by focusing on the core message: life only truly finds meaning when our experiences are aligned with higher goals and enduring standards. True joy does not come from intensity of feeling. Fulton Sheen emphasizes one of modern society's greatest misconceptions: the belief that the intensity of pleasure determines happiness. He counters this idea by affirming that true joy is not found in temporary excitement but in the fullness and meaning discovered when living for something greater than oneself. He explains that intense moments, whether of joy or suffering, only gain value when placed within the context of a higher purpose. For example, the pain a mother endures during childbirth is far from a pleasant experience, but it holds profound significance as it connects to love and the creation of life. Similarly, the hardships Victor Frankl faced in the concentration camps did not destroy him. Instead, they strengthened his conviction that life has meaning, even amidst suffering. Standards and goals, life's compass. Sheen presents a crucial argument. Humans cannot live based on feelings or isolated personal experiences. We need standards and goals to measure the value of our experiences. This, he says, is the difference between a chaotic life and an orderly one, between fleeting sensations and lasting joy. He offers a simple yet profound analogy, a clock. We measure time based on the hands of a clock, an objective external standard. If everyone decided time based on their personal feelings, society would descend into chaos. Similarly, every decision and experience in life must be measured against higher goals and values, not merely subjective feelings. A society needs moral standards. Fulton Sheen warns that abandoning moral standards and higher goals not only causes personal neuroses but also leads to societal decay. He observes that when individuals rely solely on feelings and pleasure to guide their lives, society becomes chaotic, a place where anything is acceptable as long as it brings short-term satisfaction. He remarks poignantly, "If we eliminate all external standards, how can we condemn wrongdoing? If I feel it's right is enough, then both Hitler and the mother who killed her child with broken glass could justify their actions." Sheen argues that a strong society must be built on shared moral values, principles that transcend personal desires and emotions. These are not just essential for stability but also form the foundation of true happiness. The connection between experiences and higher goals. Sheen concludes that to live a fulfilled life, each person must connect their daily experiences to a higher purpose. This not only gives meaning to achievements but also helps individuals face suffering with resilience. Experiences, whether big or small, only hold real value when they contribute to a larger picture, a picture of love, responsibility, and contributing to something greater than oneself. Final call, the journey to meaning. Fulton Sheen closes his sermon with an inspiring exhortation. Anchor your life to a purpose greater than yourself. Live for something timeless, and you will find true happiness. He underscores that in this world of chaos and uncertainty, we do not need more intense experiences, we need clearer direction. Each person must ask themselves, what am I living for? What does this experience mean for my ultimate goal? Sheen's call is not merely a personal challenge but a wake-up call for society as a whole. He reminds us that true human prosperity lies not in possession or sensation but in the connection between daily life and timeless values. This is the path to peace, happiness, and meaning, not only for individuals but for generations to come.
Fulton Sheen, a master of philosophy and spirituality, has guided us through the journey of life, where the stages of human existence are illuminated by the wisdom of Shakespeare, Confucius, Solomon, and modern psychology. With an inspiring style, he delves into the desires, ambitions, and the wisdom of old age, connecting them to a higher purpose, the spiritual journey toward love and eternity. This is an invitation to reflect, to seek, and to live fully. Have you ever looked back on your life as if it were a play on a stage, where you are both the actor and the audience? This is how Shakespeare portrayed life in his classic work, As You Like It. Life begins as an infant cradled in arms, grows into the schoolboy, the lover, the soldier, the judge, and finally returns to the beginnings, ending in forgetfulness. Fulton Sheen, in his profoundly philosophical style, offers us a broader and richer perspective on the cycle of human life. Rather than stopping at Shakespeare, he guides us through the insights of thinkers like Confucius and Solomon, before returning to modern psychology giants like Freud, Adler, and Jung. Each of these figures seems to touch upon the deeper truths of existence, but as Sheen shows, each tells only part of the story. Shakespeare remains foundational, with his resonant words about life's reality. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. But as we examine these stages, we can't help but ask, is life merely about roles, or is there something more profound, something worth delving into? What lies beneath the masks we wear in each phase of life? What truths do we miss when we are caught up in the theatrics of living? Sheen reminds us that Shakespeare is not the final word. We must turn to ancient philosophers like Confucius and Solomon, who analyzed the stages of life in deeper terms. Confucius, with his keen wisdom, identified 3 distinct impulses that characterize human life: desire, power, and greed. These impulses are not simply markers of age. They are forces that shape the choices we make and the lives we lead, leaving imprints on both our inner and outer worlds. Thus, we have the rungs of a ladder to explore. From Shakespeare to Confucius, from cultural dialogue to soul maps charted by philosophy and science. The story remains open-ended, and perhaps it is in piecing together all these fragments that we finally understand life as a predetermined journey. Sheen's exploration opens the door to understanding not only the stages of life, but also the purpose that threads through each stage. Let us continue this journey into other fascinating analyses, where the thoughts of Solomon and Freud converge, and deeper truths about human existence are revealed. Solomon, the legendary king whose name is synonymous with wisdom, offers a compelling framework for understanding the stages of life. His writings, the Song of Songs, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, chart a journey from youthful passion to mature reflection, and finally, to a sobering confrontation with life's transience. In the Song of Songs, Solomon celebrates love in its most fervent and sensual form. This is the language of youth, where emotions run high and desires are unbridled. It is a time of discovery, of first loves, and the intoxicating allure of beauty. Sheen draws a parallel here with the impulsive energy that Confucius ascribed to the first stage of life, the dominance of desire. But Solomon, even in his youthful exuberance, does not lose sight of the divine. The Song of Songs is more than a love poem. It is a metaphor for the ultimate union between the human and the divine, between earthly longing and heavenly fulfillment. This period of life, according to Sheen, teaches us the power of longing, not just for others, but for something transcendent. As life progresses, Solomon shifts his focus. In Proverbs, the voice of youthful passion is tempered by the weight of experience. Here we find the distilled wisdom of a man who has lived, who has seen the world in its complexity. Each proverb is a gem of practical insight, a guide to navigating the trials and temptations of life. This is the age of responsibility, where power and ambition come to the forefront. She notes that this stage aligns with Confucius's second impulse, the drive for power and mastery. It is a time for building, for striving, for leaving one's mark on the world. Yet with each gain comes the lesson of humility, a reminder that power without purpose is ultimately hollow. Finally, in Ecclesiastes, Solomon's tone becomes somber. Vanity of vanities, he declares, all is vanity. The pursuits of youth and middle age, love, power, wealth, are revealed as fleeting, as shadows that vanish with the setting sun. This is the wisdom of old age, a wisdom born of disillusionment but not despair. For Solomon, the realization of life's impermanence leads to a deeper understanding of what truly matters. the eternal. Sheen compares this to Confucius's third stage, characterized by detachment and reflection. It is here that the journey of life comes full circle, where the passions of youth and the ambitions of middle age give way to a serene acceptance of life's mysteries. In exploring Solomon's writings, we find a mirror for our own lives. His journey is our journey. His questions are our questions. What do we seek? What do we value? And ultimately, what do we leave behind? These are the questions that lead us to the next chapter of our exploration, the insights of modern psychology and their resonance with ancient wisdom. As we step into the realm of modern psychology, we find the echoes of ancient wisdom resonating through the works of Freud, Adler, and Jung. These towering figures of the 20th century sought to unravel the mysteries of human behavior and motivation. Yet their insights align remarkably with the perspectives of Confucius and Solomon. Freud, often regarded as the father of psychoanalysis, identified the libido, the sexual drive, as the primary force shaping human behavior. His emphasis on desire mirrors the youthful energy celebrated by Solomon in the Song of Songs and the impulsive cravings noted by Confucius. Freud's theories reveal the complexity of human desire, but as Sheen points out, they capture only 1/3 of the story. To Freud, the pursuit of pleasure was paramount, yet this lens leaves much unexplored, particularly the aspirations and reflections that emerge as one matures. Adler, Freud's contemporary, shifted the focus to the drive for power and superiority. He believed that the pursuit of success and the fear of failure are central to human motivation. This aligns with Solomon's Proverbs and Confucius's second stage, where the quest for mastery and influence dominates. Adler's insights highlight the ambitions and struggles of middle age, but they, too, fall short of encompassing the full human experience. Power is a potent force, but without direction or compassion, it risks becoming destructive. Jung, the third giant of modern psychology, introduced the concept of individuation, the integration of the self as a path to wholeness. He emphasized the need for security and harmony, a perspective that corresponds to Solomon's reflections in Ecclesiastes and Confucius's final stage of detachment. Jung's work offers a profound understanding of the inner journey, yet it remains only part of the broader tapestry. It is in the balance between ambition and introspection that true fulfillment is found. When viewed together, the insights of Freud, Adler, and Jung form a triad that mirrors the wisdom of Confucius and Solomon. Each captures a vital aspect of the human experience: desire, power, and reflection. But none stands alone. Sheen masterfully weaves these threads into a cohesive narrative, showing us that the truths of the past and the discoveries of the present are not separate, but deeply interconnected. The dialogue between ancient wisdom and modern psychology invites us to reflect on our own lives. Are we driven by desire, ambition, or the search for meaning? How do these forces shape our choices and define our journey? These questions lead us to the ultimate inquiry: what lies beyond the stages of life? In the next chapter, we will explore the spiritual dimensions that transcend time and connect us to the eternal. Beyond the frameworks of ancient philosophy and modern psychology lies the realm of the spiritual, a dimension that transcends the boundaries of time and culture. Fulton Sheen takes us into this profound territory, where the questions of purpose and destiny are no longer abstract but deeply personal. Sheen describes life as a pilgrimage, a journey not just through the stages of human development, but toward a greater eternal purpose. This spiritual journey, he argues, is inherent in all of us. From the restless curiosity of youth to the reflective wisdom of old age, there is an underlying drive to seek something beyond ourselves, something infinite. This pilgrimage is reflected in the stories of many traditions. Sheen draws on the biblical narrative of the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years. Their journey was not merely a physical one, but a profound spiritual odyssey, marked by moments of faith, doubt, struggle, and ultimately redemption. He likens this to the human experience, a series of advances and setbacks, of striving and surrendering as we move closer to understanding our true purpose. The imagery of the pilgrimage also finds resonance in the writings of Dante, who envisioned life as a journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise. Guided by wisdom and faith, Dante's journey was one of transformation, where each step brought him closer to the divine. Sheen uses this to remind us that our own lives are also journeys of transformation, where the trials we face are not obstacles but opportunities for growth. At the heart of this spiritual dimension is the question of love. For Sheen, love is the ultimate goal and the measure of all things. It is through love that we transcend the limitations of our earthly existence and connect with the eternal. Love, as he describes, is not merely an emotion or a fleeting passion, but a deliberate act of will, a commitment to seek the good of the other. It is in love that we find the meaning of our pilgrimage, the fulfillment of our deepest longings. As we reflect on the stages of life, from the desires of youth to the ambitions of middle age and the wisdom of old age, we see that each stage is a stepping stone on this spiritual journey. The challenges we face, the lessons we learn, and the relationships we build all point us toward a greater reality. Sheen's message is clear. Life is not a random sequence of events, but a purposeful journey, guided by the hand of the divine. In the grand tapestry of existence, Fulton Sheen unveils life as a profound interplay of stages, desires, ambitions, and reflections. From the innocence of youth to the tempered wisdom of age, every phase invites us to confront the eternal questions of purpose and destiny. The journey of life is more than mere survival. It is a purposeful pilgrimage, each step imbued with meaning. Sheen's synthesis of ancient philosophy, modern psychology, and spiritual insight urges us to transcend the superficial and to seek the profound. Love stands as the cornerstone of this quest, a guiding light that unites the temporal with the eternal, the human with the divine. It is through love that we truly understand our roles as pilgrims, moving steadily toward the infinite. As we leave behind the masks of performance and the distractions of ambition, we are called to embrace a deeper truth, that life is not just about being, but about becoming more compassionate, more wise, more attuned to the eternal rhythm of existence. In this we find our ultimate purpose, our final destination, and our greatest joy.